The biomechanical goal of the power clean is to lift as much weight on a bar from the floor to the top of your shoulders while standing up straight as possible. This figure shows the 3 pulls but does not include the recovery phase, which is standing up straight while maintaining vertical trunk posture in elbow position, or in other words, a front squat. The most mechanically effective way to do this is to move the bar up in a straight line from the floor, so no energy is wasted moving it on the horizontal plane. Additionally, it's important to keep the bar above center of gravity to maintain stability. A deterministic model has been created to display all the biomechanical features of the lift that are used to maintain the straight bar path and lift as much as possible from the floor to the shoulders. The most critical features of the movement and how to analyze their performance are as follows. In 2017, a study was done by Kip and colleagues studying and comparing successful and unsuccessful power cleans and analyzed what the biomechanical differences were. One of the main differences they noticed was that unsuccessful power cleans exhibited greater peak forces forward than successful cleans. In other words, if the bar is moving anywhere but up, the chance of succeeding is less. Stone and colleagues in 1998 showed the same result for a power snatch, in that this was often the result of athletes hipping the bar. Since the two movements have such similar first and second pull, Stone's findings are reasonably valid for analyzing the power clean also. Hipping the bar is caused by athletes hyperextending their hips into the bar as a result of going onto the balls of their feet too prematurely before achieving triple extension, according to Hugh and colleagues in 2021. Triple extension is a simultaneous extension of ankles, hips, and knees, as you can see in the image on the left. And by extending the ankles before the hips or knees, the athlete pushes the bar away from their bodies, which we already know thanks to Kip and colleagues in 2017, is suboptimal. Therefore, timing of triple extension, especially in analyzing the ankle, should be analyzed qualitatively to ensure that athletes refrain from hipping the bar and creating horizontal displacement. Another crucial feature of a successful power clean is maintaining trunk angle during the first pull. Winchester and colleagues in 2005 found in a study of 18 healthy men that extending the knees before the hips during the second pull increases bar vertical velocity and overall lift success. Straightening the legs first keeps the shoulders and thus the bar in front of the knees, preventing the bar having to move around them and minimizing horizontal displacement, a key factor in performance as stated previously. Additionally, since hip extension generates greater impulse than knee extension, saving for the second pull maximizes power output where it matters most, since according to Comfort and colleagues in 2011. Therefore, excessive trunk angle change throughout the first pull should be measured quantitatively. Another key feature is how the bar is held from the end of the third pull to standing up, or in other words, the front squat. Biomechanically, the farther a weight is from the center of gravity, the harder it is to lift, as a longer moment arm requires greater torque. Therefore, when catching the bar on the shoulders, it should be as close to the center line as possible, ideally resting on or behind the anterior deltoids near the collarbone. This reduces the force needed to support the weight and prevents excessive strain on weaker muscles like the triceps. Holding the bar too far forward can also cause upper back rounding or a loss of neutral spine, increasing injury risk and reducing front squat efficiency, according to Waller and colleagues in 2007. According to NSCA front squat standards, additionally, the bar should rest on or behind the anterior deltoids to help with this, with upper arms at least parallel to the floor or higher to form a stable shelf. Thus, two aspects should be analyzed for an effective power clean. One, a quantitative measure of upper arm angle relative to the floor or a horizontal line, and two, a qualitative check for excessive forward bar position compared to anterior deltoids. Ideally, this should be recorded with weights to ensure, without weights to ensure a clear camera view so the shoulder can be viewed in relation to the anterior deltoids. To ensure accurate observation, recording should be made indoors away from direct light with a solid contrasting background. A 1 meter ruler should be placed beside the athlete for calibration, fully visible at both ends. Video should be 120 FPS with the athlete and barbell centered. A single side on camera about 4 meters away and aligned with the athlete's center of gravity best captures the sagittal plane for analyzing ankle, trunk, and elbow movement, and the shoulder, arm, and barbell placement. The athlete should lift enough weight for realistic motion, wear fitted clothing, warm up properly, and use colored markers on key joints of measurement. The athlete must understand the lift purpose and key technique, and a power clean was keeping this all in mind. A power clean was performed by a QT athlete to evaluate these features and identify possible technique improvements. Firstly, it is clear that the athlete completed triple extension with correct timing, as their ankles did not prematurely extend, neither did their hips or knees. This was reflected by the lack of excessive forward movement of the bar, but also can be seen plainly by qualitatively analyzing the moment of triple extension and noting that everything is simultaneous in the video following. Secondly, maintaining angle of the torso throughout the first pull, with shoulders in front of the bar, as previously stated, is a major feature affecting successful power clean. It is clear from quantitatively analysing the athlete's trunk angle in relation to a straight upwards line that there is a 22.2-degree difference between the position at the start and finish of the first pull. Therefore, the athlete has failed in this criteria. Thirdly, the angle of the elbows relative to a horizontal line was quantitatively analysed to see if the elbows were at least parallel or higher, since that is the standard according to Waller and colleagues in 2017. As you can see in the figures shown, the elbow angle ranged between 30 and 40 degrees below horizontal and therefore shows a fail to meet the criteria. Lastly, bar position. When qualitatively analysing the position of the bar in relation to the anterior deltoids in the throat, the bar could move further backwards, but it's not a huge issue. It is sitting on the anterior deltoids, and if the elbows came up higher, the bar would most likely start to fall back towards the throat a bit more anyway. So it's not a major issue, but there's room for improvement. Quantitatively and qualitatively analysing the performance of a power clean from a QT athlete using criteria consisting of key features of the lift according to the deterministic model created and backed up by relevant literature, a few changes should be made to increase the total amount of weight the athlete is able to lift in a power clean movement. In order to reduce change of angle of the trunk during the first pull, the athlete should focus on refraining from hip extension until bar is above the knees. Elbow angle needs to be decreased and should be at least parallel, if not higher. Athletes should think about driving elbows up as high as possible at the end of the third pull and maintaining that angle throughout the recovery phase. The bar should land closer to the athlete's throat. This may additionally assist with having a higher elbow angle. When completing a power clean, the athlete should focus on pulling the bar into their body throughout the second half of the third pull, and this will help the bar land closer to their throat. According to the deterministic model in relevant literature, if these cues are adhered to, the athlete's performance in the power clean should improve, as well as the total amount of weight they can lift in the movement. Thank you.